Hello, everybody. I'm Sharon
Hello.
Hoffman.
Hi, and I'm Chris Newth. Welcome to Happy and Wise. We are here to share with you some insights and tips and tricks and information to help you live a happier life and a wiser one.
Yeah, we met on Clubhouse where we were finishing each other's sentences. We have really different inroads to the exact same information, how to really live the life you want by design to be both happier and wiser. Welcome to Happy and Wise. We're here for you. So you can ask questions, put them in the chat. We're live on my Facebook and Chris's YouTube right now, and we have a special guest joining us in a few minutes. But we're happy to have more guests. So let us know in the chat if you want to come up or simply put your questions in the chat. But
Yes.
first off, before Alina comes, yeah, Chris, please.
Sharon, there's so much to update on, but I guess I'll start by saying I'm currently in Florida, and I'm staying with my grandma, helping her post hip surgery. And I am finding, like, my thing this week. We like to talk about what is like active for us this week. What are we thinking about? What's on our mind? And the thing this week that's sort of on my mind is paying attention to how we feel and seeing the real world results of whatever that is. Like, how are our emotions playing with our life in real world ways? So, this last weekend, on Sunday, my grandma wanted to decorate her house for Christmas, and that is something that she needs help with. There's heavy things that she needs to move, whatever. And I remember leading up to the on that day when she was asking to do it, I was not in the mood. Like, I was not feeling it. And I try to live my life as best as I can to uh, be in flow and do what feels good to me, but this time I felt a little bit of guilt, a little bit of pressure, because she wanted to do it, and I want to help her. So I said, "Okay, let's just do it. We'll knock it out, whatever." Despite what I was feeling. And so I went into she directed me to the garage where there was this big tub that was pretty heavy. It was full of, wreaths and Santa statues and just all these like different things to hang up. And I pulled it out and I took the boxes that were on top of it off, and there was this big spider web on it, and I took the lid off the top and like moved the spider web away. And when I went to lift it, I didn't want to touch my torso with it because I didn't know what bugs or spiders were on it. So I kind of lifted it like up and away from me. And it was heavy. It was heavy. And I remember and so I was doing it sort of like in this sort of slouched over kind of way. And I remember as I was entering the house with it, in my head I thought, "Oh, like this is not proper form. Like I could hurt my back
Yeah.
this way." And once I put it down in the living room, sure enough, I stood up and I felt this pain and discomfort. It wasn't bad, but it was like an annoying tweak in like my mid back.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, "Oh, I'm so stupid for like doing that, for like doing it that way." And not thinking. I wasn't thinking. And so later when things like this happen, I like to sort of think back to what led up to this. Like, what could I
Mhm.
do in the future to prevent things like this from happening, right? And
Right.
so I played this back in my mind and I came up with a couple things. Number one, and this is what I really suggest that people do. This is what I help coach people to do too. It's like understanding our emotions and paying attention to them because they really do have real world effects to our lives. So first thing was, I wasn't listening to myself. I didn't want to do this at this time. And I still said yes out of guilt, out of pressure. And when we do things out of guilt or pressure or obligation, or just because it's on the calendar or whatever the thing is, against how we're feeling, it it puts that negative, that's a negative headspace where I'm not thinking quite clearly. I'm not like on top of my game. And so things like this end up resulting, and me fearing the bugs on the thing, that's again another negative emotion. It's fear. And so and if I move in my life and make decisions and choices in my life out of with negative emotions, I'm going to make stupid choices. I'm going to have bad ideas. Things are going to I don't have clear thinking. And so it results in these very preventable uh, issues and problems and challenges that are coming up. So looking back on it, I need to be better about saying no when I don't want to do something at that time, to advocate for myself, to do things more when I'm really feeling, when my heart is in it. And that could have prevented this all from sort of happening. I feel better now, by the way. My back is better. It's fine.
Feel
But
good.
but these
Yeah,
are the little
it's a
things,
good
right?
recognition, It's great that you're able to pinpoint what was going on, because I think, I don't know about you, Chris, but I think it's incredibly valuable when we don't make good choices for ourselves to mentally see what the do-over would have looked like, because it's really a
Mm,
preparation for next time around. So it's very
yeah.
valuable to do
Yeah.
this. It's not about judging ourselves at
Right.
all. It's just
No.
about gaining clarity and getting new information. So it's wonderful to hear your process, that this was the
Yeah.
inner working, because this is what, if we all can harness this, it's a
Mhm.
great way to follow the breadcrumbs of what feels good and really pay attention when things don't feel good. But you're
Yes.
walking us through this experience. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I feel like we talk about this often here on the
Yeah.
show, but you have so much insight that you're providing, and I have insight that I'm providing. But ultimately, we're our best teachers. Like if you're watching this stream, you're your best teacher. And so the best way to do that is to play with your real life and like play things out again and see like if something's not feeling good or if something goes wrong, play out like what was I feeling leading into that, and what kind of headspace was I in leading into that. And you can start to piece together this information, and it absorbs it better so that it resonates with you, and you could say, oh, I now understand. And then you can more easily apply that in future moments to prevent things like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree.
Sharon, what's on your mind this week?
Well, I will keep it kind of brief because I want to bring our guest up,
Oh yeah.
but I had a bombshell this week, and our
Mm,
guest knows about it because I talked about it on Clubhouse last
mm.
time. So you can see my sweet baby girl in the background, my dog,
Oh,
Sammy,
Sammy. Yeah.
lying on the couch back there.
Oh.
And I noticed something in her mouth, and I took her to the vet, and they said she has cancer in her mouth, a tumor.
Oh.
And so I was just devastated. And it was a good way for me to put into practice what we talk about here,
Mm,
right? So when my world feels like it's coming apart, and I so want to take care of my beautiful creature,
mm,
what to do. And so I had a mix of anxiety and fear, all this stuff that didn't feel good to me
mm,
at all. And so it was about, how do I reorient myself
mm,
to
mhm,
the wisdom? And it was very challenging because I was so close to it. It's like my mama bear instinct wanting to protect
mhm,
my dog. And I was so close to it that it was a challenge for me to figure out how to even tune into that part of myself. But
mm,
I really got clear on some steps that were going to help me. So I called a trusted friend who owns 3 dogs and got
mm,
her insight. And from there, I called a very trusted intuitive to get her insights. And it became
mm,
crystal clear about getting a second opinion and how to go about getting that second opinion. And I followed my inspiration, which is what we talk about,
mm,
follow your inspired ideas. So now I'm not
mhm,
spinning anymore. I'm reorienting to what's moving through me. And that
mm,
was, let me call my most beloved vet. He's a specialist that doesn't cover this area, and see who would he take his dog to. His
mm.
dog had this diagnosis. So I called the clinic, and the person answering says, I'm going to go ask him right now. And she said, wait a minute, I don't even need to ask him. I know, because he was just in this situation. And here's who he went to see. And guess
Wow.
what? I called there, and first they were like, "We can't get her until the end of the month." And my other vet wanted to schedule surgery for next week and said, "This is
Mm,
urgent."
mhm.
And I said, "Oh, my other vet thinks it's pretty urgent, and they're getting me in next week." So,
Oh, that's
yeah, I'm
great.
gonna see an oncologist and a surgeon. Both they're gonna have a team approach. That's how they do things in this practice. And
Mm,
I feel at peace. Like
mm.
everything feels lined up on the inside that this is the right course of action. So that was my process of feeling unhinged and anxious to wait a minute, let me get centered. And there's such a difference in how it feels inside. This,
Mm,
yes, all fiber of my being, this is the right doctor, this is the right approach, getting the
yeah.
second opinion versus me feeling upended and awful in the
Mm,
beginning. So even though she has the same situation, I
mhm.
feel like I've recentered, regrounded into letting the best part of myself lead in this process, which is what she needs right now.
Yes. Oh my God, that's such a beautiful story and example. I question for you, how long did it take you from you doing the spiral that is so natural and valid in these moments to
Yeah.
you feeling like you've centered yourself? How long did that? And this is different for everybody, but I'm just curious specifically for you.
Oh, it took about 24 hours.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's such a great example of, the things on the outside are the things on the outside, but how
Yeah.
we feel inside, that's what we can shift. It's like you
Right.
can't take care of something on your own, like change the outside circumstances that are at play in our lives, but we could change how we feel about them and
Yeah.
therefore change how we think about them and then have the best access to the best ideas that can help us and the people
Exactly.
and the beings that we love so much. So yeah,
That's
oh,
it. I'm in the same exact situation, but I feel at peace because
yes.
I trust implicitly that inner yes, and I'm following that, and I know I'm
Mm.
getting in front of the care that I need for her. And
Oh,
that's the difference when I
yes.
didn't know which way to go, which way was up, and I was so discombobulated on the inside. So what you
Yes.
say is so true. I feel grounded and at peace, even though my
Oh,
situation is exactly
is
the same.
exactly the same in this moment. And that is the I think that's this perfectly crystallizes what we're trying to teach here too, which is changing the inside despite the outside, but the outside can still change. But
That's
we'll have
how
the
it
best
changes. Yeah.
that right.
For the
Yes.
better of everyone. It's how the
Yes.
changes for the
Yes.
like my dog would be going under the knife on the same date she's actually having her second opinion with this team that I was told she may not even need surgery. Maybe she can have
Mm,
chemo. So I'll have to see what they say, and
I see.
I will
Okay.
circle back with you on that.
Yeah, keep us posted, but I love this mentality of trying to find the peace within despite what's going on outside because ultimately we can't control everything that goes on outside. However, when we change our internal world, our mind, our heart, we connect ourselves in that way, we do tend to make the best decisions for everyone involved and ourselves. And more importantly, like we find that peace and happiness in the process in the meantime,
Right.
because there is a version of this where you're stressed, overly stressed and worried and anxious for every day up and through till Sammy's taken care of, and so that is a life that we can prevent. We can shift that and enjoy
100%.
our life in the meantime, right?
Love it. Yes,
Yeah.
everything you're saying. Okay, so shall
Yes.
we get going with our special
Yes.
guest? Okay.
Yes. Should we bring her
Oh,
in?
yeah, let's bring her in. Okay, you're on. Hello.
Hey guys,
Oh, look at you,
Hi,
Alina. Hello,
Alina.
I'm
hello.
kind of blonde. I don't know if you remember, but
Is
Wow.
that new?
Yeah,
yeah, it's new.
Oh, looks great.
I love it.
I was a little nervous because I was like, a hair model means somebody's just learning their craft,
Wow,
and
did they nail it?
she did a really great job.
Yeah.
A couple sessions to get to where I am, and we're still kind of, moving slowly towards the direction I want to go.
Wow.
But I
Love
was
it.
like
Amazing.
her, and I was like, "You're doing a great job." And she was so apologetic, and she was like, "I'm so sorry." And I was like, "Please don't be sorry. You're giving me a gift of
Yeah.
being a blondie now."
You look great,
You
Alina.
are a beautiful blondie. Yeah, I have to say. And
Yeah.
We've
did you
talked
trust
before.
sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sharon.
I was going to say, did you trust your inner gut in terms of like, well, I'm going to put my hands in this person who's just learning? Like, did some part of you say, I think it's going to turn out okay?
I did. That's exactly what I did. I mean, I think that my hair journey has been quite a bit of a journey. 3 years ago, I thought I was a hairstylist. I sat in my bedroom and I thought, I have a great idea. Let me go from jet black hair to blonde. And it didn't
Mm.
it didn't go well. I'm not a hair I found out the hard way. But I wasn't really allowed to touch my hair for like the last 2 to 3 years because of what I did to it. I damaged it. And again, you
Mm.
live and you learn and stuff. But I met this girl. She was actually my like next door neighbor at my old place. Like literally, we shared a wall, and we just started talking. She had just moved in a few months prior, and she's like, "You're so nice." And I was like, "Well, why wouldn't I be nice to you?" And she's like, "No, seriously, like nobody in this complex has been this nice." And I was like,
Oh,
"Thank you. You're so."
whoa.
And then we
The
just
bright light, Alina.
what was that?
You're just a bright light.
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so he was like, "Oh, I don't know if you're interested in this, but I'm actually an apprentice at my stepmom's hair salon in Danville. Like, would you want some hair services?" And I was,
Whoa. See, this is a great example of manifesting, by the way. And
Yeah,
Alina,
it is.
we've talked before on Clubhouse. I've never seen you before, but like we've had conversations on Clubhouse. This
"We
is
have
a pleasure to like get to see you.
you."
But what a great example of manifesting. It's like you put out good energy and you just tend to meet the right like a person who damaged her hair, meeting someone who can take care of her hair is such
Yeah.
a cool connection. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I actually didn't think about it in that like very direct way. I just thought, "Oh, I manifested this, great, kind person just, I guess for shits and giggles kind of thing."
Yeah.
Time. I really excuse my language. I hope I was allowed to.
No, it's
Say
okay here.
whatever
We do
you
it all the
want
time.
here.
And then yeah, you're actually right. It's like I had, I guess, a problem, and
Yep.
then here she is with a solution. I really didn't think about it that way, but that is exactly what happened, and I'm very grateful for it.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think this is a great lesson for anyone who likes the idea of manifesting or wants to get into the active practice of consciously doing it. All it takes, and Alina, you know this, your story proves this. All it takes is to enjoy your time with other people, to have good conversations with them, to carry good energy. That's all that's needed. It's not like you have to
Yeah.
do all this work to do it. You don't have to like research all these things unless you're
Sure.
inspired to. But all you have to do is like be out in the world and connect with people with good energy, and the universe connects us in all these cool ways that we can't even see, and sometimes we can't even see until later. We look back and we're like, holy shit, that was such a cool connection that was made there.
Yeah, it really was. And I just think it's so interesting because, obviously I didn't have the conversation with her to gain something from it. And
Right.
yet I feel that I've gained so much. Not
Mm,
just her, although that is, a pretty penny that I saved there. This kind of
mm.
service, the full price of the service is like $245 plus tip. Just I know you might not
Mhm.
be familiar with the cost of getting her hair done. It's not cheap,
Yeah.
you know?
Whoa.
And so I gained this experience and this kind of support, but also I've gained like a beautiful person because she's actually very, very kind. And I was so glad that we had
Mm.
that conversation and we've supported each other, and I feel that our friendship is growing. And yeah, I think it's all I could ask for, really.
That's amazing. Wow. I
It
love
is.
so what a great story. That's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. So I heard from Sharon that you recently moved in November last month. How
Yeah.
and and I don't know if this is true, but like there's some kind of was there a manifestation sort of story to that too?
Probably, yes, because I think Sharon, actually, you did a great job of like summing it up for me. Again, I don't think I really was that detailed in the specifics of it, but when you and I talked about it, you were like, "Yes, you said this, and then you manifested this." If you could maybe relay that to Chris the way you did last time, that
I'll do the recap, but I want to say I'm so glad you're saying that because oftentimes in our lives we focus on the stuff that doesn't feel right or we got it wrong and we can be hard on ourselves. It's so important to pay attention to the stuff that we do right because it's not dumb luck. It's not happenstance. It's choices. It's many, many micro decisions that we made that were in the right direction. And when we become aware of what those were, how we did it, we can keep doing it over and over again. And this is what I keep hearing from you, Alina. So, you were saying you really wanted to move from where you were living to, we now live in the same town
yeah,
in Mill Valley. And you really wanted to make that happen. And then you were just following these threads. And in very short time, it unfolded. It was like when we get really clear on the inside and it feels really right, we don't even understand. That's all we really have to do. And the rest that kind of gets supported for us, things unfold with so much ease that we almost think, God, that's dumb luck. But no, that's the effortless ease that is being in the flow state. When we're really lined up on the inside, there's a big inner yes. That's really what my heart's desire is. And then there's sort of an openness or receptivity to what's going to come our way. It just sounds like that was your experience. And it was almost like, I can't believe this is happening so quickly and easily, right?
it happened it happened within really a few days. I mean, I reached out, I saw a bunch of places in Zillow, and then I reached out to a bunch of people. And I think I sort of let it go instead of doing the thing where you just hold on to it really, really don't let it slip through your fingers, right? I didn't do that this time, and I just messaged a bunch of people, saw who would be maybe negotiable, and then I kind of forgot about it. I sent out the messages and I looked at the places and I was like, yeah, these are all pretty cute. I could live here, I could live there. Let's just see, if anyone's negotiable. And somebody was. And was very negotiable. And you know what else I think is really interesting is we talk about grandmas here a lot. I've noticed.
Grandmas rock.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
they sure do. It seems like we all have a soft spot for hours in this room. And what I thought was really interesting, and I actually didn't notice this when I came to do the tour, but when I was moving in, I saw this owl statue that's sitting right outside of the house. And my grandma loved owls. That was just like her thing. She loved owl mugs. She had like an owl pillowcase, little owl statues. And I was like, hold on a second. I think I'm supposed to be here. It might be like a little thing, but it felt like just like a reminder that, even if I'm doubtful of certain things or not completely sure of my path right now, I know that it's the one.
I love that you're so cognizant of that. Like that's such a superpower that we have when we're paying attention because these little things and signs and clues and information, they're all around us all the time. And a lot of time if we're not following our heart, if we're not in flow, if we're not paying attention, we miss them. But you're someone who is so good. I could see, like, just by the examples you're giving, as you're paying attention to this stuff, which is so helpful to you. And honestly, I hope everyone listening is also like paying attention to that too. It's like we need to be consciously aware of our surroundings so that we can discover what those actual clues and signs are,
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And yeah, I think that they come sometimes very unexpectedly, and I think it's just like the most beautiful because you're like, I was just walking around, minding my business, and then it's just like bam.
And here's how we all are here today is that I got up the courage to start a room on Clubhouse 2.5 years ago. And at some point, Chris started coming on and hosting his own rooms, but we really just had such a great vibe together in the room, kept coming back. And he was like, "Hey, do you want to start some live streams?" I was like, "Yeah." So it was just that simple. And then I was on Clubhouse one day and I said, "You never know, like when you get really lined up, you never know who you're going to meet. You walk out the door. I could walk out the door today and meet a fabulous stranger." And that's exactly what happened. I finished Clubhouse. I walked out into the woods with my dog and I met Alina and her mom and a dog that her mom was caring for. And we just walked and talked for what, a good hour or more?
Yeah,
Something
did.
like that just dropped in and something struck me to invite you to Clubhouse and you came and you've been a regular ever since. And then Chris, let's have Alina on a live stream. And so here you are, but this is how this happened, you know? It's amazing. You can line up from anywhere on the planet, really. And now you're tuning in from Florida, Chris, which I love that we get to just be wherever calls out to us, but we can all commune together. And with anybody else who is here listening or watching the recording, we just all get to be a part of creating something great with each other. Really, I think there's that group energy that is so powerful, don't you?
Yes.
Oh my God. Yes. Alina, did you? Yes, I was gonna just tag on to that it's cool that geography doesn't matter, like your physical location doesn't matter. Like minds and people who resonate with similar information come together. They find each other in all these different forms and in all these different ways. And I love, like, those Clubhouse rooms that you're hosting are so helpful because it inspires conversation that I think is super beneficial to everyone listening and everyone participating. And I'm curious, Alina, as someone who has started such great conversations, is that what's going on in your life right now that you're kind of, like either working on or wanting to shift or change? Like, because a lot of times, like, some of the most valuable information comes from this seed of like, oh, this challenge that I have or this like issue that I have, and that we can start to, I don't know, play with the way we're thinking about it or how we're feeling about it to help our lives shift in cool ways that we want to. Is there anything going on in your life right now that you're kind of working on?
I would say yes. Don't we all something?
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you for asking. I would say the next thing that I want to create is getting paid well for what I love to do. I think that that's really important to me, is just being really authentic with what I'm doing and have it be something that's natural to my personality, that doesn't feel forced. Do I do that from like a 9 to 5 perspective right now? No. And I think part of it could be that it is the 9 to 5 that's also making me feel that I'm not exactly where I want to be. I have a really hard time with like set schedules. It's always been a thing. Must do
Yeah,
this
me too.
time every day.
Yes.
I'm like, no.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Like your freedom feels like it's sort of like being taken away when
It
you can't, when you're so rigidly having to stick to a certain schedule.
Yes, that is something that I really like to work on. And it feels like, I have what I like in certain areas, and yet there's still things that are coming up that I'm like, I don't like this, and I don't focusing on the fact that I don't like it. And part of me feels like maybe I'm trying to escape instead of run towards something better, if that makes sense.
Ooh, that's such a cool distinction that you're making there. Okay, yeah. So that's interesting. Sharon, what are your initial thoughts on that concept? Because it relates, I feel like it's very relatable.
Yeah. Well, I do. I too share what you're saying, Chris. That's a great distinction. I think, anytime we're not happy with what is, it's really about tuning inward to what feels right, so that you're not just getting away from what doesn't feel good, but you are going toward what you really, really want. And
Mhm.
I think the invitation right here, right now is let's plant the seeds in the ground together for you to get exactly what you want. You did it for the move, you did it for your hair. So now let's do it for
Mhm.
your job. And I want to say this, and I'm sure Chris, you're going to echo this, is that it doesn't matter how big or small your dream is, or if you've
Right.
never felt like you've had it before. There's nothing wrong here. It's just a matter of applying what you already know. You are so wise. You're the best expert on you and your life. So
Mhm.
let's channel that energy right here, right now,
Mhm.
toward planting the seeds that now you can just forget it like you did before. Follow the same
Mhm.
process.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In the forgetting, it's like I don't have to clutch, I don't have to constrict. That's how you cut off the flow. You let it go and you stay
Yes,
open to what
you're
you're
right.
going to receive, right?
Well, that's what's interesting is I've been able to let go with other things, right? Just even tiny stuff. I thought the other day, I think I told you this, I wanted to manifest some candles
Mm.
and it didn't come through. It's such a silly thing, right? It's like, okay, just a few candles, right? But I was
Mhm.
like, oh, how can I manifest some candles today? I
Mm.
went to World Market at the end of the day and I won $50 from them. And then guess what
Whoa.
You
I
buy-
know. And I went and bought some candles with that. I got some like and
Oh
some
my God, Alina. Okay, so now you're on fire, right,
yeah.
Chris?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is you're a master manifester. Like this is so
Yeah.
it is just like Sharon's saying, apply what you do so naturally to anything you want. So you'll apply it to this challenge that you're having in the same way that you're doing with these other things, because like proving to yourself that you can do it is such a helpful exercise. You've shown like all these little things, like I'm good at getting finding a place. I'm good at manifesting candles or like a specific item I want. I'm good at like this is something you're good at finding information. Like you found Sharon's room in Clubhouse. Like now
Yeah.
you're here. It's like this is
Right?
you're finding the information to help you on the things that you're challenged by. So all of this is just proving to yourself, and I hope that you can sort of take this in. You're really good at this right now. You're already really good at this, and it's just a matter of
Yep.
harnessing the power you already have and applying it to just this other topic. That's all this is.
I guess that's kind of where what I'm trying to figure out. Or maybe
Mm,
maybe that's the problem is that I'm
mm.
trying to figure it out in my head.
Yeah, get out of there.
Yes.
Get out of there.
So it's like
Yes.
that day, I remember this was like last week or the week before, and there were a couple other things. I manifested a whole money tree, and it was like a
Mm,
free tree with like a pot and everything. And I was like, this is
So
awesome. And the thing is, I remember thinking that day, I was like, I want these candles and I'm gonna let it go. That's not my problem how it's gonna happen.
hmm
But candles today and they're gonna be free. And like all the end of the day, right? I walked in like maybe 30, 40 minutes before closing to World Market and then I manifested, the 50 off 50 coupon and I spent like what, $1.47 on the entire purchase, which was like I was like, I did that. I did that, I did
let,
it.
let me ask you a question, Alina.
Yeah.
What led you to World Market when at that specific time? Do you remember, like, this again, I don't know how recent, what if this is recent, maybe you'll have a better memory of it, but do you remember how you felt and what the impulse was that led you there?
Yeah, I feel like World Market makes me feel good. So I was like,
ah, oh my
Hmm
God. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah.
Yeah.
You followed what felt good.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh, this looks like such a cute little store. So, well, it's not that little. It's kind of big actually, but I was like, you know what? I feel like drawn there. I feel
Yeah.
that I should stop there today. And I did. And I noticed, what's also really interesting is the way that I won that. It's like an elf on the shelf little program that they're
Mm.
doing. I noticed the giant sign out front and I talked to the two workers about it and I was like, has anyone found your elf yet? And she's like, "That's so funny that you asked. Like, people don't even notice throughout the week.
Mm.
Giant sign out front. Like during the weekend, some people, yeah, they do notice, but she's like, that is amazing that you noticed. And then she actually gave me a hint. And then she just came up and she was like, here's
Amazing. So like, okay, so I have a few things that come to mind with this. First of all, again, it's your observational awareness at
yeah,
play here, where you're just really good at observing your surroundings and like finding the clues that are all around you. Secondly, think about like a lot of this comes down to timing, right? Timing of the universe. There are so many things that are going on that we can't physically, like our physical minds can't possibly know them.
oops.
They're out of
Can you hear
sight.
me?
They're out of, oh
Yeah.
yeah. Can you hear us? Oh
We
no, did we
lost
lose
we
Alina?
lost the camera. Okay,
Oh
now we
no,
got
you
you
guys
back.
paused. Hold on one second.
Okay. It might be your internet connection.
Are you guys still there?
Yep.
Yeah, can you hear us?
I might have to rejoin. I don't know if you can hear
Okay,
me.
leave and rejoin. And luckily
Okay.
you can see the stream after this. But Sharon, this is such a great like example, and we'll tell Alina when she when she comes back, of like just the timing of things around us in the world and the universe around us. We can't control that, but we can flow with it. So if we get that internal impulse from our our heart guidance, right, our flow, then we can be like, oh hey Alina, you're back.
Sorry, you guys. I just lost you for a second, and I was like, "Oh, hold on, I'm gonna come back."
It's okay.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, you didn't miss much, trust me.
I'm good at finding clues.
Yes, you're good at finding clues. Okay. And the other point of this is there's a timing thing that goes on with this. The universe, everything is happening at certain times, right? And we can't control what those timings are. And our physical mind can't know what those timings are because what's out of sight and out of our earshot, whatever. Like there are things that are going on behind the scenes, things that people talk about behind closed doors that we'll never know about. We can't know about it. However, we can flow with that timing with our internal guidance, right? That's what you're suggesting with this. Like if you feel an impulse, that's the universe saying, keep cluing you in that that's the time to go to that. That's the time to do that. And then you can flow with the good timing that leads to all these things. So in the same way that you did this for candles, you can do this with a job that you love too. That stuff is also floating around in the universe around, and it's just a matter of you finding. But if you try to use your head to find it, then you're going through all these like rational ways or these like checklist ways or whatever. And there's so many variables, too many to account for. But if you trust your heart guidance, you can be timed to go to places at the right time, or research or search for things at the right time, look things up at the right time, meet people and bump into people at the right time that can lead you one step at a time to the exact perfect job that you want, that will fulfill that dream that you have inside. Does that kind of resonate with you?
It does.
Oh,
Like,
good.
Yeah,
Okay.
it gets to be easy. This gets to be easy. You can literally say, I want to feel freedom and happiness every day, enjoying my job. And you can leave it at that, doing what I'm really good at doing and love to do. And just wait for the inspired thought, like Chris is saying, to lead you to the action. Like, oh, I haven't talked to so-and-so in a long time, or let me walk down this street today, you know? I had an experience like that a number of years ago. I had this breakup from a boyfriend, and I knew exactly where I wanted to move afterwards. We were living together. And so I moved. I'm in this new house. I feel great, but I want to manifest some work for myself. And I just was really clear on what I wanted, something that was part-time, doing what I'm really good doing. And then I just went about settling in where I lived. And one day, out of the blue, the phone rang from somebody I had worked with in the past who remembered my psychology background and was in a company that was growing and wanted me to come in and help hire people and assess people and be on the people side of things, and part-time. And that's how, I mean, it was just like, boom, it got dropped in my lap out of nowhere. Just, I mean, I really hadn't talked to this person in years. So it really can happen like that.
I really, really love everything you're saying. And I think that it is possible. At the same time, I do have a question that's coming up.
Hey.
How do you ignore the shit you don't like?
That's
A
a great
really
question.
good story to tell you about what I did, but Chris, I'm just wondering if you've got something.
I'm very spiritual, and I do like, as we were just talking about, like the concept of the universe at play and us in flow with it is very big for me. However, something that helps me shift the way I'm thinking and change my focus is the common sense behind all of this. So if you can talk to your common sense mind, it can help you with things like these questions. So for example, how do you stop paying attention to the things that don't feel good? um, uh, you can know that if you shift your focus to purposely pay attention to what does work for you, what you do love, what you do enjoy, you common sense put yourself in a headspace that is more clear-headed and has better ideas and has more creativity and has more in touchness with your intuition and has good energy, similar to the energy that you uh, connected with your neighbor on, and
Yeah.
the people at World Market. It's like those that good just so think I like to think of it as like, if I focus on, I have choice. I can focus on what I don't love, what I hate, what bothers me, what annoys me, what frustrates me. I could focus on what I love, what I enjoy, what I'm passionate about, what I the pros, the things that I do like, or I can focus somewhere in the middle and have like a mix of both. But I know that the more I lean towards focusing on what I want and what I like and what I dream of and what my goals are and what I want my life to look like, even if they don't currently exist in this very moment, I give myself a way better chance at rendezvousing with the things that the universe has that matches those things. I have a way better chance to put myself on a mental and an emotional level and a spiritual level that's aligned, that can help me get the inspirations that I need, that can help me more clearly know, like, oh, I should look this up, or I should check this out, or I should go here, or I should talk to this person. All
Hmm.
of that, you just have a way better logical chance of doing that if you're aligned with focusing on what you want. So every day when you feel frustrated, and you're like, God, I hate this 9 to 5, and I hate this feeling like I'm trapped and I don't have a place to go, and I hate how feeling like my schedule is reliant on someone else. All of those things, the more you focus on them, all you're doing logically is keeping yourself off vibe. Basically, you're keeping your headspace a little off, where it doesn't have the same access to all the important resources and all of your powers, your superpowers internally, that you can have otherwise. And you're already doing it. Like, there's no question in my mind that you're going to manifest this. There truly, it's like, this is just a matter of time, because I can hear how you talk, and you already are someone who is naturally and organically good at this. But you can make this go faster by just reminding yourself every time you feel a frustration, let me shift this on purpose, not only because it feels better to shift this and change the way where what I'm paying attention to, but also because I know it commonsensically is really good for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what I have to remind myself, that it's almost like this act of selfishness. Sounds bad, but in this
Mm,
sense, I really mean it in like a good way. Like
yes.
it is selfishly good to be
Yes.
good. And so
Yes.
if I
Yes.
at another and blame them for me feeling trapped, they're
Hmm.
feel, worse. I will. Not that I want them
Yes.
worse, right? But
Yes.
that's not going to shift anything.
Yes. And one more tag along before Sharon chimes in on her thoughts on this.
Yeah.
See it as a choice. Instead of seeing it as someone else is forcing you to do this, or you're under someone else's, power, or you have little control over all this, tell yourself, I'm choosing to work this 9 to 5 right now. That's my choice. I could not. I could quit. I could find something else. I could go somewhere else, but I'm choosing this because it serves a purpose for me right now. It pays me what I need right now to pay my bills. It allows me to live a kind of lifestyle that I want. Yes, I want something different, and yes, I will get there. But in the meantime, I'm making this choice. And then it doesn't feel like so out of your control. It's like, I'm in it to a 9 to 5 right now because that's what I've found. But in the meantime, as I'm shifting that and as I find my way to this new thing, I'm choosing to be here. And then that gives you the power, puts the power back in your hands?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I
Sure.
think I'm going to try that.
Okay. Okay, cool. It's a practice. This is all a practice. We all have our challenges in life. So I have my own too. but that's what I kind of
No
try to keep in
way.
mind.
Just kidding, Chris. I have bad jokes sometimes. Oh my goodness. Thank you. I really appreciate you.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay. Sharon, what are your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, well, I found myself in a similar situation a number of years ago. I had this job that I was so stressed out and overworked and overwhelmed that I felt like I didn't even have any headspace to manifest the next job. Like it was
Mm,
just felt horrible every day. I was beyond taxed.
mhm,
And um and what's worse is I felt victimized. So I did feel like it was at the hands of other people who weren't treating me right that made my job. One of the reasons it was so awful
Sure.
was that I was really being treated unfairly and by my boss. So it was like a very important relationship that had gone really bad, and I
mm,
felt like it was so unfair.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would walk around dwelling on it all the time. Like when I wasn't at work, I'd be thinking about it. So this
mhm,
is all the things I didn't want to be doing. I didn't want to be in that anxious state. I didn't want to be feeling so awful. So now I'm feeling awful at work and away from work because
mhm,
I just can't get out of my mind. It feels so horrible and I feel so wronged. So this was my life. And so then I was like, okay, I got to get off this hamster wheel.
mhm,
How am I going to make the shift? And because I don't even feel like I have the time to look for a job.
mhm,
So I thought, okay, the first thing is I'm going to take 100% responsibility. Instead of blaming my boss for it, I'm going to take 100% responsibility for being in this situation in my life. And I'm going to ask myself, how can I shift to
mhm,
make the change I want in my life? That was the first thing that was really important. How can I
mhm,
shift? Because now I'm taking 100% responsibility.
mhm,
So I said, okay, well, I still don't have any energy for this. The first thing I need to shift is my attention away from dwelling on this all the time. And so I made a pact with myself that I was going to be super aware of when I was dwelling in this work shit that I hated.
mhm,
And then, okay, well, I have to have somewhere positive to go in my mind because
mhm,
what do I do with that? So I thought, okay, there's this place that is my most peaceful place I've ever been in my life. It's this private little shell beach in Kauai that I went to many
mm,
years ago. And that represents everything that is just harmony and peace and just being in nature, everything I love. So I
mhm.
thought, okay, so I'm going to actively remove my attention from the work anxiety. But where am I going to go? I'm going to go to that little island, that little beach.
They
And
can't
so,
get you there.
no, you can't. No, so that was the beginning. Is I would
You're
catch
saying in your
myself
mind, right? Like in your mind, you're gonna go whenever you feel
in
bad,
my
you're gonna.
mind. Yeah,
Yes, 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 sure.
because I was now in this habit of mind to make myself feel really bad because I'm dwelling on all the stuff I don't want and don't like.
Yes,
Right? It's just what you
yes.
were saying, Chris. I'm creating more of that because it was so hard for me to not focus on it. It felt so horrible every day. It was
Yeah.
front and center for me. So I devoted myself to this practice of catching myself and taking myself in my mind's eye to this
Mhm,
little beach. And then
mm,
feel that calmness wash over me.
mm,
So now I'm really claiming 100% responsibility for how I feel and
mhm.
making the shift to. I didn't know how to create the thing I wanted next, but I knew the beginning was somehow I knew I needed to remove my attention from what I didn't want. So
Yeah.
that was the beginning of the shift. And I'll tell you, it only took 1 week after I started doing that for everything to change. Yeah.
Mm,
Everything changed within a single week.
mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Uh-huh.
Whoa. I
Mm.
love that story. And I will say, like, what you're talking about is a concept that we can all have in our mind, which is this. And this goes back to Alina, your question, which is how do I stop thinking about these negative or the things I don't like?
Mhm.
We need, imagine it's like a set of monkey bars, right? Like you're holding onto monkey bars. you can't let go of that thing you don't like, what you're paying attention to, unless you have something else to grab onto. So this is like your Hawaii example, like Sharon. It's like you can't let go of that negativity that you were having, that you were dwelling in, unless, and then you found another bar,
Yeah.
another thing that you could put your focus on instead. So every time you caught yourself in that negative headspace, you shifted it to that other thing. So Alina, I would suggest find your Hawaii, find your version of that you can, every time you catch yourself, you purposely shift your mind, and then you're accomplishing not only peace in the moment and accountability for your own happiness, but also you're purposely, like we were talking about earlier, putting yourself in the headspace that is most beneficial to finding your answers and having great ideas and coming up with all the answers that you and solutions you're looking for.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I think you guys, one of my biggest things is sometimes I just don't take enough responsibility, and I will.
Mm,
And instead of refocusing on something better, I'll start thinking about everybody else in that same space.
mm,
Why would they make a choice to also?
mhm,
And I'm like trying to analyze
mhm,
why we'd all be stuck. So,
mm.
and that obviously is not serving me.
Well, I
Oh,
was
but
caught up in the same thing where
Yeah.
I was
Mhm,
looking out and finding fault in other people. And then it was keeping me entrenched in what wasn't working for me, right? And here's the thing is I thought if those things changed, then I'd feel better. But it was the opposite. I needed to decide to feel better for those things to change.
yeah,
And I didn't have to get another job to feel good.
Yeah.
yeah,
All I had to do is take myself in my mind to that beach to
yeah,
feel good. And so it's the opposite of what we're taught. We don't have
yeah,
to go around changing external circumstances in order to feel good. We have to
right.
feel good first. And then those external circumstances will change to line up with how we feel on the inside.
Yeah.
Yes. Amen. Amen. And I will tell you the common sense behind that, what you just said, Sharon, is when you change internally, when you change and you shift your mind and you connect your heart with your head, you naturally are going to be talking differently. You're naturally going to be thinking
Right.
differently. You're naturally and organically going to be making different choices and little, even micro choices that you wouldn't make in your dwelling state, that you're now making in your happy state. And that will automatic, by definition, that's going to make changes in your life. When you start talking differently, coming up with different kinds of ideas that you don't normally think about, making different decisions and taking different actions than you normally would, your outside reality is going to change. That's undeniable. It has to, because you're making different choices than you did a week ago or whatever. And so all of this makes total logical sense. And I will say, Alina, to your great benefit, you are so conscious. Like, you literally, the last thing you said too is another example of just your superpower, is your conscious awareness of everything, your ability to be observant of yourself and the world around you, because you said, I don't do that. I don't take as much accountability for my own happiness as I should or as I can. That acknowledging that, even having the awareness to know that about yourself and say that, is the first step, because now you can start shifting that because you know it. And now if you can start just taking more responsibility for your just think of it this way: everyone's responsible for their own happiness, like that, period. Like, if you give everyone else, you're responsible for your happiness, no one else is, it's empowering. That means you take your power back. That means you have sway and control and of the direction that your life goes.
Yeah.
You are so much more powerful than you know. We all are. You
Mhm.
really are. And
You're
so
right.
what's that?
You're reminding me of that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. When we claim that for ourselves, we are all powerful within
Mhm.
and therefore in the world. And you are that.
Mhm.
And now it's just reminding yourself. So you're saying you being reminded right now. Sometimes that's all it takes to make the shift. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be some big life change. It's a small shift on the inside. Oh, I get to decide how I want to feel.
Yeah.
Nobody can make me feel a certain way. So you
Mhm.
can be in the same job and feel really differently because
Yeah.
I get to decide. I get to remove my attention from what doesn't feel good. It doesn't mean not showing up on the job or not doing the job. Like, I was still doing my work. I know we've talked about this, but
She was like, damn.
yeah, I know. Well, it's just about being integrity with ourselves, whatever that
Yes.
means for each of us, right? It's slightly different, but but it means that when we take responsibility for how we feel and however we have to get there, for me, it was removing my attention and going to this special place on the inside. Oh my gosh. Okay. The result was immediate. The impact on me was immediate. And I did that. So
Mhm.
I was feeling all victimized. And now I felt, my power again.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you will too. You are moving in your power in these other ways in your life. So now it's just expanding that around your work. You
Yeah.
see that? It's all part of the same soup.
I do.
Right, Chris?
And I'm definitely in a much better place than I was, like, even when we first met, right?
I know.
Perhaps I have you to thank for that, you know?
Mm.
Well, here's what I want to say. I thank you, and I want to say you have yourself to thank. Please thank yourself because you were drawn to the conversation. You were drawn to taking the invitation to come on Clubhouse. You came
Yes.
and you kept coming, and now
Yeah.
you're here. So when the door is open,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of walking through. But it takes a willing participant to walk through, and you have
Mhm.
over and over again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's so
hats
true.
off to you, Alina.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Do something to manifest me being in Mill Valley.
Well, I joined you in your wish, but you did all that.
Yeah.
I just still think that is so funny how I was touching a tree.
Yep.
I was like, tree, please give me your wisdom.
Mm. And you're so receptive to it. Like, I love how receptive
Yes.
you are to ideas, to like that is like
Here,
this.
here.
So, for example, if you took anything from even this conversation, like just right here, this conversation, even a little one nugget of something that we've said today, and start applying it, and it changes things in your outside world, then you can look back and say, like, oh, this too was part of my journey. Like, this was part of the thing that helped me shift. And I did that by joining. I did that by having that conversation. I did that by seeking this information out. So you are ultimately the one that finds, that manifests all of this yourself. I mean, we're all little pieces. Everyone's connected. The whole universe is connected, right? But like, you have to be that willing participant, like Sharon is saying. So credit yourself for all the things that you
Truly.
take from here,
Yeah.
there, all of there. Like, I
Sure.
came across the perfect book to help me like get rid of my anxiety, but like, so I could say, oh, the book did it, but I found myself
That's
through
right.
that book, and I
You were
read
drawn.
that book.
Yeah.
Yes, right. It was part of the journey. So always credit yourself, because you're the one doing it. And you have so many successes and so many wins that it'll be easier for you because you have something to point to. I did this, I did that, I manifested this, I manifested that. Now it's just taking all of that power and these little extra nuggets that you're starting to tweak in your mind and your heart to get this next thing. And then it'll be something else after that. And you can join us and tell us what that next thing is too.
Yes.
And I look forward to that. I think it's time to start wrapping up. So I just vibing off of what you're saying, Chris, I just want to ask you, Alina, if there is one thing, like if you wanted to encapsulate in a sentence, like your biggest takeaway from today.
That I am responsible and I have power. That is a wild thing. Just to even watch myself say the thing that I am responsible. This has never happened before.
How did you feel,
You've
by the way?
crossed the
Like,
threshold.
I feel like more grown up today than I did yesterday after I said this.
Okay. Okay.
more in touch with the real you, because the real you is hyper powerful. Like, the real you is truly like empowered. So whenever you do something that reflects that and feels that, where you can feel that on the inside, that means you're coming in touch with who you really are.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that.
And I
Cool.
think, sometimes as girls, we're taught to wait to be rescued in our lives. And there can be that secret fantasy. I know I've had that many times about many things. Just somebody come and take me on the white horse, and I just want to get rescued from this hell I'm in, whatever it might be. And here's the beauty of your recognition right now is that we get to rescue ourselves. We get to be the heroines and heroes of our lives. And it doesn't have to be a long, hard journey. It can be really pretty instantaneous. And you've been doing that by the way you've been showing up for yourself in these ways we've talked about today. And I just want to say, keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank
Alina, will you come back?
I will absolutely come back.
Okay, great. We would this is such a I love this kind of discussion because it's so relatable to so many people. It's like, I have this issue, I'm struggling with this thing. How can I change? And you're also so receptive to the stuff we're talking about that it just makes an amazing conversation. I know that already from our Clubhouse conversations, but getting to show that here too and have these kind of conversations on YouTube and Facebook is just so nice. So thank you so much for joining us and for being here today.
Definitely.
You have both given me so many gifts today.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Well, before we close, we're just going to talk a little bit about where you can find us besides on the live streams we're doing, Happy and Wise, on YouTube and Facebook. So Chris, you can find Chris at chrisnewth.com. And I don't know if you've done this, Alina, but you can sign up. He has these cheat codes, which are really cool. You sign up and it's free, and you get in your inbox these little cheat codes for how to tune into your happiest self.
Yeah. Just little cheat codes that you can get as a little daily reminder of like, oh, that's something I could think about, that connects you with yourself, that helps you manifest your goals and dreams. And that ultimately the big win for all of us is just to live a happier life. Because ultimately that is the biggest win we could have in life. It doesn't matter what jobs we end up getting or how much money we make or what kind of relationships we're in. Ultimately, our happiness is behind all of that. Our happiness is the most important thing in life. And if we can achieve that, then not only can we find all those other things, but more importantly, we can enjoy this life that we have, which is like, what else is there but enjoying life? So yeah, find cheat codes on my website, chrisnewth.com, and they're hopefully very helpful.
Yeah, they're great.
And Sharon, where can people find you?
Go to SharonHoffmanLiving.com, and there's a free gift waiting for you, a 10-minute guided visualization, plus a link to join me on Clubhouse. Please, I'm on every Wednesday at 6 p.m. and every Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. That's Pacific Standard Time. But you'll see the link to join in. It's all free and it's global. You'll see that link on my website and also your free gift. So come visit my site and come visit me on Clubhouse anytime.
Awesome. And Alina and I both know how good the Clubhouse rooms are. So please check those out. They're very cool conversations with, it's just like if you want to get in depth and really like dive into whatever's going on in your life to help it, you kind of smooth it out and become more in touch with your intuitive self and find out who you really are and listen to that internal wisdom and guidance that we all have, but sometimes we don't fully access, right?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that, Chris. It's always a deep appreciation for both of you. I always appreciate conversations with you. There's so much wisdom that lives in you, that lives in all of us, but I feel like you really are tapping into it right here, right now. And everybody who's tuned in gets to take that in. It's such a precious thing to get to live in that and really embody it for ourselves. So Chris and I will be back on the live streams, and stay tuned. Join us again. And Alina, we will be very happy to have you back as a guest.
Whenever you want, please come join us whenever.
That's right. And on Clubhouse in the meantime.
Let's stay in touch. I'm absolutely happy to come back with more questions and more manifestations.
And updates. Yes. Awesome. All right, guys, with that, I think we'll wrap up. Thank you guys for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.